Wolfram Lunscher. We used to call him Lunscher, but that's not the correct pronunciation of his name. Wolf was here from 65 to 70. He was in the science and tech side, so he's going into the science and technology. He's another one of these really bright guys that you could see when he was in our class that science was his passion. And Wolf was one of those students that he didn't really stand out a whole lot because he wasn't there to make any waves or draw any attention to himself, but he was an excellent student. And I'm sure that he attributed some of his success in post-King City to Dr. Samarica and Mr. Sanderson and Mr. Carson and Mr. Hill, because these four fellas really gave all of us such a wonderful background and grounding in science. And from here, Wolf went on to U of T, went into astronomy and physics, and you should likely connect with Tom because the two of them are out in outer space now. But he went from U of T and he ended up in UBC, and he got a degree, an honors degree in electrical engineering, then went on to a master's. And he finally entered the workforce because he didn't really do much working until after that. And he got into data communication software design at a place in Saskatoon. And then he got involved with the Kennedy Space Center and a project there. He came back in '87 and got involved with Canadian astronautics industry in Ottawa and got involved with spacecraft communication and instrumentation. And he's gone on from there to get into the field of space lasers. Wow, how was that? And he's been involved in parts of the Canadarm development. And I asked Wolf, because he couldn't be here today, unfortunately, to send me a few comments about things that he'd like you to know about him. And I'd like to go through what he sent me. He started off saying, well, I got started off in mechanical and electrical engineering, and from there, he was stimulated by space and this whole idea of communications. And he helped create a space station buffer amplifier that's used on the Canadarm2. He worked on space-based radar programs dealing with the use of radar for communication. He even did something dealing with a tracker system that dealt with solar wind probes, and it's amazing stuff. The pressure of the light of the sun on satellites. Now, as a non-scientist, I don't understand how the light could have that much pressure on a satellite, but I guess they know something about that. But he's been involved in all kinds of space-related things, and it's turned out to be his true passion in life. He's still heavily involved, and he sees no end in sight. He told me about one of his first experiences here at King, grade 9. There was some poster up in his room, and I think it's sort of a paraphrase from Robert Browning about set your goal higher than you can reach and then reach it. And he thinks that's a good model for what he did in his life, and that he could pass that on to the students here, that you don't sell yourself short. Set high goals and then try to go beyond. And his final comment to me was, because I asked him for some pearls of wisdom, and I'm sure he was laughing when I used that term, but he said, if you have a dream, follow the dream. And that's what he'd like to tell people in their walk through life that become the person you want to become, and if it doesn't work out to be a career, make it your hobby. Because most of life happens away from work. So if you can't make your work your first love, find a hobby that challenges you and makes you reach that much higher. So on behalf of Wolf, I'd like to accept his induction into the case of distinction.